Hi, friend. Logan Clements here with the Better Events Podcast. And in this week's episode, we are taking you behind the scenes of planning the in person day for our 2025 Better Events Conference. You've heard us talk about it. We are so excited to be bringing back the conference for our third year annually. It is, though, our second year doing the in person day. We're going to be gathering in Seattle at the Labor Temple in the Belltown neighborhood, just about 10 minutes from Pike Place Market and the iconic Seattle waterfront. And it's going to be Thursday, December 18th, a full day of programming. So keep listening while Mary and I take you behind the scenes of some of the crucial decisions we've made, some of the lessons we've learned, and some things you can expect if you're going to attend the Better Events Conference.
Welcome to the Better Events Podcast. Join two event strategists, Logan Clements and Mary Davidson, who believe we can all create, host, and attend better events. In this podcast, you will learn about event strategy and actions that you can use today as an event host, planner, or manager. Hear directly from the people who are creating innovative and inspiring events today and tomorrow, and grow your business along the way. Now, let's get started, and thanks for listening to the Better Events Podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of the Better Events Podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about the Better Events Conference, the in-person day. You have probably heard about it. We love to talk about it, so we're going to get into it. But before we do, we have our conversation starter today. Logan, what's something that you're currently trying to get better at, whether it's like a hobby or something in your personal life, something like that?
I'm going to take this one a little deep, Mary, because I am working on being bored and like slowing down. I'm trying to be intentional with my energy, and I'm realizing I need to like give myself space to recharge. So right now I have gotten into puzzles, and specifically having a puzzle on my kitchen counter that is in a spot I don't really use very much, so that if I walk by, I like spend a couple minutes doing that. And it's been fun because I've lost track of time and been doing the puzzle for like 20 minutes. Now, I will say to anybody in my life listening to this podcast, I do not need more puzzles. I'm taking joy in the one puzzle I have, and then I've been trading them with people or like swapping them out to get a new one. But slowing down, that's my answer. The rest of this year, I'm trying to just like take a beat and recharge.
I love that puzzle idea. I think I'm going to do that. Well, but my cats are going to get into it.
I was going to say, I don't know how cat friendly this idea is, because they'll probably you probably have to just put your pieces away, but like
I'll lose the pieces. Yeah.
But if you like do the edges and then put them back in their little box and then take them out as you do, it's been really fun, I will say, of just like something that doesn't involve a screen, doesn't involve any sense of urgency. And then I was a dork and like showed Archie my like a picture. I was like, come look at my puzzle. I was so proud of it.
That's cute. For me, I would say this one's also kind of different. Not that yours was different, but I'm trying to get better at like my wind down in the evening. So trying not to think about work so much. Like for me, like my business is my life, and so I think about it all the time. And lately, I go in spurts. Sometimes I don't think about it all the time, and then sometimes I do. And right now, it's one of those times when I'm like thinking about it as I fall asleep, and then I'm dreaming about it, and then I wake up and I work, and I'm like, this is too much. And so I've been working on trying to find ways to not think about it as I'm trying to go to sleep. And one of the things that I've loved is the Headspace app, and it's like a meditation app or whatever, and it's been worth it to me because I like listen to their wind downs or like sleep casts as I fall asleep. And on those nights, I'm telling you, I don't dream about work at all. So it is working for my brain, and I really appreciate it. So I am working on separating that a little bit.
I hate those work dreams. Those are awful. I feel like that's your brain being mean, because it's like, I already think about work a lot. Why would you make my sleep time like panicking that I overslept an event? Like, we don't need that. There's enough scary things in the world. That's a good one, Mary. Listeners, think about what is something you're trying to get better at, a hobby or personal life. But we do want to plug our Better Events Conference. This week, we are taking you behind the scenes of our planning for the in-person day. But in case you missed it, we had a virtual day, 100% virtual, on Wednesday, October 1st. That is finished. You can go back and listen. We'll link that episode in the show notes if you want to listen to the pre-planning we did for that. But now we're going to be talking about our in-person day on Thursday, December 18th. Tickets are still available. Visit the link in our show notes for bettereventspod.com/conference. to join us in person. A number of you are flying in, which we are so excited about. We also have a number of you driving that are more local in the Pacific Northwest. We are excited for both groups of people. It is just a great way. This is such a virtual thing we do to get to meet everybody in real life. So a little bit more about why we chose this week's topic. We did this last year and a lot of you had fun, I think, coming behind the scenes of as event pros while we plan an event for event pros. So we have a lot of lessons learned so far, and I'm sure more lessons to keep learning. But let's chat about the in-person day. So Mary, let's start with the big existential question. Why did we decide to bring back the in-person day again for 2025?
Well, Logan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the in-person day is something that we both felt like a lot of energy from. Like it was we were tired last year, that we already talked about that in our first episode we did about planning of the virtual day. But it was a lot to do back to back. And so I remember though the in-person day we just felt really happy after it. Or we felt that connection, that in the room connection, that we definitely enjoyed the virtual event, but it's that in the room connection that it felt special. And I think that's why, Logan, we were like, we do want to try that piece again. There's more to it, but I'll just leave it at that. What would you say, Logan? Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think we were energized, but we also got just such positive feedback from those that came in person. And listeners, I love virtual events. So I'm not saying in person is better than virtual. I will say both were energizing in their own rights. But last year was our first year doing an in-person day. So I think the energy was a big part. And then, as you know, doing anything for the first time is just hard usually. And so there's a lot of motivation, I feel like, Mary, from us that like we'd done it in person once. It's like, okay, we learned, and I would hate to just judge that experience off of a one-off and be like, we can't do it again. Because listeners, in-person is more expensive than virtual, like as planners, as the logistics of hosting people physically in a space versus virtually, those budgets are higher. And so I think to us, it was like, all right, now we learned, let's iterate on it and see what adjustments we want to make that experience better for attendees and also even for us as planners, and just give ourselves a second shot at it because it can't be as hard as the first time. So that was also, I think it was like part energy, part challenge to ourselves to be like, all right, let's build on what we did.
And kind of along with this high level, these questions that we have, Logan, what are we most excited about the in-person day? You can go first.
Oh, this one's tough. It's like picking a favorite child. There's like so many things I'm excited about the in-person day, but I do love getting to bring everybody together in the space. And so whether it's folks we already know and we are vocal members of the Better Events community, or they're new people, that has been the most exciting thing, seeing our registrants come in and seeing folks who are repeating, came last year and were really quick to buy a ticket again, but also the new people. And that means, we are repeating a couple of our session formats that we've tried before. We are changing some, but I'm like, oh, it's cool that both new and old folks are excited to come back to the conference. So I think it's getting to meet the people. And then I'm really excited about our speakers that we have coming this year, because we are trying some different topics that we haven't done in the past.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There are some things that are like different this year and almost more. I don't want to like say this as an overall theme, but I think there is a small theme of just like life outside of your events or throughout your career and kind of what that can look like. And I don't know, I like that perspective of it. We're going to get in the nitty gritty too. Of course, there's going to be like event, planning and production specific things. But yeah, I think that's going to be really fun. And then Logan, kind of like you were saying, I'm just like so honored. Thank you everyone for buying tickets to the Better Events Conference. It's so cool that we just had this idea and that you all are on board with it. We're certainly doing all the work we can to make it a worthwhile experience for you. So we're proud of it and we think it's going to be good. But just the fact that whether you're driving in or flying in, like Logan was saying, it's just so cool. I don't know how to explain it. And so I'm just excited to be able to meet these new people and reconnect with people that we do know. So it's just going to be, I think, really fun.
Yeah, so kind of getting into the structure of the day, Mary, how does the in-person day differ from what we offered on the virtual day?
Well, there are many similarities, but the in-person day, we're assuming that either people have been to the virtual day or they're going to go back and listen to those recordings from those sessions. And so it is different. One of the biggest differences, I think, is like we said, that it's that in-person component. So even though we made the virtual day as interactive as we possibly could, those interactions, I would say, will probably be increased on the in-person day with some of the workshops and the activities that we have planned, really ensuring that folks can meet each other. So that's one of the big things. I think another difference is that we have the opportunity to try different things. And so one of the things that we did last year were the walk and talks, and we found like people thought those were a nice, instance to be able to get up and move around. And that's kind of one of the biggest differences with the virtual event. We have a couple planned things where folks can get up and change their environment, but still be meeting people. Logan, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I think you alluded there's some formats that are similar. Like we did lightning talks virtually, we're doing lightning talks in person, but the speakers are different and their topics are completely different. And we're really excited about showcasing those voices and those different topics. I really love group consulting. I think people had a lot of fun this year doing it virtually. And that was a format we did in person only last year. And then so many people loved it. We brought it to the virtual day and we are once again repeating it in the in-person day. And I think what you said, Mary, is my overall promise to people who come to the Better Events Conference is like, there isn't another conference like it. And I love both our virtual day and our in-person day. We focus so much on you as the individual and what are your challenges and your journey through the event industry. And that's just something different. I think you can go to any other event that's going to talk to you about BEOs or how to engage your attendees better or something like that. And that's not saying some of those discussions won't happen at our in-person day, but we are bringing you into a more reflective space to be thinking about yourself and your career, which is really exciting to do in December because hopefully your events you're doing are slowing down and you're going to give yourself a moment after this conference to just kind of like breathe, let this settle in. And hopefully some of the things you learn with us in person could have big, career implications for you because we are just creating space for you to have some of that thinking time.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we're biased, but it's going to be good. So you should still join us. We'll talk more about that at the end of the episode. But I'll say now, go to bettereventspod.com/conference and you can still join us. We'd love to have you there. But with that, we'll get into our next question. So Logan, this is a podcast about event planning and production. So what were some of the first steps that we took when planning this in-person component?
I mean, you can't do anything without a date. And this was a tough one for us listeners because we only recently revealed that the location for our in-person day is in Seattle. It's at the Labor Temple. It's down in the Belltown neighborhood, really close, probably about a 10-minute walk from Pike Place Market and the historical waterfront in Seattle. It's really pretty. And that was a tough one for us because it's the chicken and the egg. Like we hypothetically could pick a date, but we also were like, if we fell in love with a venue, do we want to make sure the venue could do it? So maybe we would shift the date to fix on the venue. And so we went back and forth. And because our virtual day was in October, we were trying to get ticket sales out. So I will say, Mary, what was this? December 18th was our second date we landed on. We'd sold ourselves on one date. And then I think we shifted, or we were in a range. We had a couple dates we were interested in. And then we were able to land on Thursday the 18th, felt far enough away from hopefully everyone's holiday party madness, not too close to the holidays that you wouldn't want to get on a plane to go somewhere else. And we knew that Wednesday, Thursday seemed to be a sweet spot last year.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like this is where one of the biggest differences between that in-person and virtual day component comes in is that we still had to find a venue for the virtual day for the virtual platform, but finding the in-person venue, just has a little bit more things to consider. So exactly what you said. And then also with in-person events, you have to think more about physical items as well. We had a whole conundrum about what to do about lunch. I don't know if we want to talk about that or not. But things like that you don't really have to deal with on a virtual day. So.
Oh yeah, listeners. Well, because then it was then figuring out budget and food. And like I said, it was more expensive. I think we talked about in the virtual episode, but it was literally, I was like looking 2023, we did virtual only one day. Last year we did 2024, we did a day in person and then the next day virtual back to back. And our big lesson out of that was, wow, that was a lot to do 2 days in a row. So we wanted to split them up, but also we did not make as much money as organizers as we did in 2023, which is mind blowing to be like, we did more content, we did more speakers, more stuff. We had more people hypothetically. So that was big on us of also just wanting to like rework the budget of making sure that one, and we did, that was a big decision we made. We did bring ticket prices down because we wanted to keep this event accessible to as many folks as possible. So we decreased the price, but that was also then, looking at costs of like, well, where could we find savings? And we did land, as of right now, not offering lunch to folks. We're going to have a lunch break where we will send you out of the room. And you can it'll be kind of like a small group interactive, but I will say my soapbox on this, listeners, is we're event pros. We have a lot of event chicken at our events that we work. None of us are excited about event chicken. And so if it comes down to paying for more event chicken for event pros or sending you out of the room to a delicious, amazing Seattle restaurant, I'm going to probably pick the second. And that's just because no matter how delicious that event chicken, I'm probably not excited about it.
And we like to try different things. And so we actually kind of turned it into something that we think is going to be kind of fun, like little small groups that can go eat with each other somewhere else, change the environment, and then come back refreshed, hopefully. That's the goal. So,
yeah. Well, and
yeah.
also make it feel like you experience some of Seattle. And
Yeah.
even if you're someone who lives in Seattle, like experienced a new neighborhood, like that's just some of the complaints, if you're too much time in the ballroom. So there's purpose behind what we're doing. Those that joined us in person know we joke, you guys are both our guinea pigs and we are your guinea pigs for trying out new and different ideas. But that's another like meta part of this event is you can kind of experience for yourself some of these different formats that we're trying and see if that's something you can take back to your event to help answer the ever so joyful but annoying question of like, how do we mix it up next year? You're going to leave with at least a couple new formats you probably have not tried or seen at other events that you could potentially apply to your event.
And Logan, so as we're talking about these tips and tricks for someone planning an event, like an in-person conference day or a hybrid event, what's one tip that we'd give based on our 2025 experience so far?
Ooh, I feel like this is like when you're doing your agenda, I would leave space to be surprised as you get closer to the event happening. Like that's something you and I did, Mary. Our note from last year was like to have longer breaks. Last year we tried this co-working break, which is this it was a pretty significant, I think 40 or 45-minute break in the middle of our programming to give folks time to answer email or, continue their conversations if they wanted or anything. But then our breaks between sessions were really tight and it's just hard to keep speakers on track or questions or when things are really interactive to like stop that and shift gears. So we were, I think, better this year of planning for more space in the agenda and keeping it flexible until only just a couple of weeks ago, we kind of locked in and we ended up actually removing a session because we wanted to have more space for sessions that we already had committed to and give us space for breaks and that transition time because we don't want you to be exhausted by this event day. So I think so many other hosts try to lock in that agenda so early and then there's no room for adjustment. So just giving yourself a little bit of flexibility in those planning months because things change. You actually realize this was really interactive. We should give it 40 minutes instead of 30. Where are you stealing those 10 minutes from? And I think a lot of people just steal them from their break and then give you 5 minutes to run to the bathroom, get your coffee, and run across a convention center. So don't do that. What would you add to that, Mary?
Yeah, I would say that the courtesy block is actually something that I think is a really great tip. So we have a hotel nearby that Logan kind of alluded to earlier. But we didn't do like a guaranteed room block or anything like that. We just did a courtesy block, which means they give us a discount for a certain amount of time that guests can book. So by the way, if you're coming, we've tried to share the word about that event, but do let us know and we'll make sure that you get that booking link. And so, yeah, that's a great way to kind of save money and work with a hotel partner nearby your event to see if you can get a courtesy block. But that's kind of the key is to try to avoid any commitments like a room block unless that's the point. Like obviously a lot of conferences have room blocks, but if you don't need that, it's smaller. A courtesy block is a great route to go. And so we've been able to try that out the last 2 years and it's worked really nicely. And so that's something I think that you all could try as well.
And it takes the pressure off instead of it being an actual formal room block. Sure, maybe some of our negotiating is out, but just as organizers for the size of this event and the variation of how many people fly in or travel or like drive in, I know I like the flexibility of a courtesy block so we can send people somewhere, but also we can tell attendees Seattle's a large city. You can stay in a very fancy hotel. You can also stay in a more affordable hotel. It is up to you, but we are giving you an option that is close and we know is nice and we like, and at a better rate than you could get for yourself. So just something to think about if you have a smaller event, as Mary mentioned. So Mary, how are we going to keep in-person attendees engaged and feeling included? What's worked before and what are we going to try this year for the in-person day?
Well, with all events, we have a mixture of people who come, whether it's a difference in levels of experience or even, if they're introverted or extroverted. Like for me, I really love when an agenda is like, there's like a schedule. So I know like where I need to be and when, and I know that I'm going to be able to meet people because we have conversation starters, not because I have to go approach someone, which is a little more intimidating for me. But the reality is our agenda is built for, I would say, both types of people. There's opportunities for like natural connection and then scheduled, like, intentional opportunities to meet people as well. And so I think that's one thing. Last year, we learned that there's a lot of, well, actually, the past few years, we've always had conversation starters. And so we know people like those. We bring those back. It is a great way to kick off the day. We did it for virtual. We do it for in person. It works for both audiences, which is pretty fun. So we bring that back. Logan mentioned a co-working break, which we are bringing back again this year. And we're bringing back group consulting, which we get a lot of good feedback on. Again, we did that virtual and we're doing it in person. So it can work for both audiences. And yeah, I think those are some similarities, but it does depend on the group that you're with too. So even though if you participated in it last year or virtually, it will likely be different depending on who you're grouped with this time.
Yeah, I think we also do a good job of mixing up the formats, kind of what you're talking about, Mary, but more explicitly. Like we have 4 different workshops that are happening. In addition to that, we have 3 different, I don't even know what to call them. Like I would put conversations in that, conversation starters in that, but 3 other like lightning talks, conversation starters, and then these like walk-in talks that I would count as programming, but they're not really workshops. So there's just so much variety that ideally we're appealing to different folks. You are getting to test out different things. And then this is not the conference where you get to like camp out and get comfortable in your seat. We will be telling this to all of our know before you goes as well. So if you are someone who's registered to join us, just know, be ready to pick up your stuff and move between sessions, because we are trying to mix you up, because there is a lot of amazing connections that come from the serendipity of just who you're partnered with, who you're sitting near, who you're around. The space we have at the Labor Temple has a lot of different variations of seating that we're really excited about. It's even got some indoor-outdoor space, so everyone cross your fingers for decent December weather in Seattle. But it does have a toasty fire pit, which I'm excited for taking some time outside the room to recharge. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different things in terms of engagement. Ironically, I feel like, Mary, we had an inquiry from someone pitching us a product to make it more engaging. And I was like, I feel like we're already doing some of this stuff. It's not like it's your standard speaker and slides that we're trying to figure out, oh, what poll could we put in or what new interactive tool? We really are giving you space and time to write things down, and you are doing a lot of the work yourself. It's just getting facilitated by us. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different options that we have for you. You can kind of choose your own adventure. It is a full day, 9 to 5, with an optional happy hour that we'll be doing afterwards. Like keyword optional. If you're someone who's your social battery's done after a full day of interaction, there is no judgment. You are welcome to head home. But it is a full day, which we are aware of. But like we said, we're trying to get you out of the room for lunch. We're going to do some walk and talks. We'll do some stuff to kind of break up the day to help make it feel like it flows nicely.
Yeah, we're obviously excited. So please join us if you haven't already. And if you are, we're so excited to see you there. But Logan, what's next? What is coming next in planning and that we're excited about or nervous about?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the home stretch here. So we are trying to figure out, I think, the final details and logistics. We're less than a month away. And so it's we're coming up on telling the venue exactly how many people we're expecting, figuring out the room set and everything. So I feel like I'm excited because it's getting closer and we've been talking about it for months, but it's also just like the final touches that I want to do really well. And some of our other little surprise and delight things that we have in store for folks that we're now just weeks away. So, there's only so much time. We're going to use all the time we've got though. How about you, Mary? What's something you're excited or nervous about?
Well, make sure you follow us on social media because we're going to start dropping more information about the speakers. You can also find that information on our website. We link out the agenda, but we'll start dropping it on that social, platform in those ways. And so I'm excited about that because it builds momentum, I think. And so you can check that out if you're curious.
And yeah, so I guess we've alluded to this, but where listeners can learn more about the Better Events Conference, like we said, we still have tickets on sale for the in-person day in Seattle on Thursday, December 18th. We've also alluded we will be doing probably an optional dinner the night before, a little meetup for folks who are traveling in, or if you want to join us just for an extra activity. We are also exploring some Friday morning options of experiencing the city. So it could be potentially more than just one day if you want to turn it into that. But yes, you can visit bettereventspod.com/conference to learn more. Our in-person day tickets are $169, and that includes access to the in-person day and then the recordings and the brain bites from the virtual day. So you can get access to all of that content through June 30th, 2026 for all the replayable stuff. We didn't say it, Mary, but I do want to say it here. The in-person day is not being recorded. It will not be available for replay. It is, you have to be there. You got to be in the room, experience all that great, amazing content. That is something that we feel really passionately about when you have so many things that you can access replays for. This conference is one that we say you truly need to be there and experience it.
And we're so excited to see you there. So email us if you have any questions. We're happy to share any information because a lot of you actually have reached out kind of with specific questions if you're trying to get it approved for like professional development. So we're happy to do what we can to get you there.
Yes, and we are also happy to offer group tickets. If you are trying to bring a team, we can make one beautiful invoice for those tickets and help you get registered. So hope to see you there. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait to debrief how it goes. But Mary, that brings us to the end of our episode, and you have our bonus tip this week.
I do. Okay, so our bonus tip may have been shared before, but I think it's good to kind of bring it back again. So one of the things that we do when we finish with the client is we write them a letter and we send it in the mail and it's just saying thank you. So this bonus tip is a suggestion that you thank people in one way or another, whether that's writing your clients a letter or maybe your coworkers, those people that you work with, just to say a little thank you. It definitely doesn't hurt. You might not get a response, but it doesn't hurt and it can be a nice thing to do. So here is your reminder for that.
It's a great bonus tip and a great time of year to think about what we're grateful for. So that brings us to the end of the episode. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Better Events Pod. You can send us an email at bettereventspod@gmail.com. You can join us for the 2025 Better Events Conference by visiting bettereventspod.com/conference. You can also connect with Mary and I directly on LinkedIn. We love hearing from you. Just let us know you heard about us through the podcast. And if you want more Better Events content, join our private community on Substack. And as always, we want to thank you for listening, and we'll be back in your feeds again next Wednesday.